My name's Jay. I've got a 2000 Ferrari 360 Challenge.
The truth that they are hiding is nothing that I fear, and I know that haters mindless, covering every possible kiss. So tell me why it matters, and tell me what you miss.
I've got friends who are horrible influences and send me every cool thing that they find. And most of the cool stuff that I find has a way of finding me. And I get offered cool stuff all the time, and sometimes I'm able to jump on it, and sometimes it's not the right time or not the right deal for me. I've owned over 200 cars. Some of them were free, some of them were $500, and some of them were pretty cool and outside that price range. But oddly enough, my favorite car that I've ever had was a '86 635 CSI BMW. Total piece of junk. Bought it for $800 in New Hampshire from a guy who didn't know if it ran, and I rented a tow dolly, rented a truck, went and got it. It was a huge gamble. Ran like a top. Brakes were perfect. Needed tires and a battery, and it was a sport stick, black. Really cool car, and I haven't found another one since. Not at all. It was a total piece of junk. It was just a fun one to own. Never. I take in the worst of the worst and try and do the best that I can with it. And 90% of what I buy needs rehab, it needs love, it's at the bottom of the market, it's a really good deal, and it's in a lower price category than anything else like it on the market. No. Every single one. Mostly the unknown of what's there, and doing my research and learning about what it takes to put a car like it together. Every time I buy something, I have an end goal in mind of somebody else's project that I like a lot, but would go in a different direction with, a different color or different specs or whatever. And so I have a vision of where it's going to head, and then like the final product's usually a surprise to even myself. If people don't like it, I always encourage them to do it their way when they're ready to build theirs. Because ultimately, everything that I do and the way that I do it has been weighed heavily in my mind, and there's a reason for the way everything was done. So the 360 came to me from a friend who works at a local restoration shop called RPM. He gave me a call and said, there's something down here that I think you're going to want to take a look at. And I shot down there. It's about 45 minutes south of where I am in Burlington. And there was a giant pile of crap, Ferrari sitting there. And it had horrible interior, had horrible paint, and it was exactly what I was looking for. So we put a deal together and I brought it home. I did have a plan. When I first saw it, I knew it needed a little bit of paint and it needed some cleanup. And then I got it back and realized that it needed a full paint job and a full interior restoration and tons of just cleanup broken parts, including a set of headlights that are not available in the aftermarket world, and they are still available new. So unexpected, but they needed to be done. So every interior surface got recovered or refinished, and the entire car got stripped and resprayed as it was needed. It had been painted a couple times before, drips and stone chips and stuff that needed to be cleaned up. Shit. Yeah, it was, everything had just been played with too many times. Like the dash had never been out, but it was white and faded Alcantara. The cage was all beat up from being raced. The interior was torn up from being entered and exited. It's not the right words for it, but the bumpers had been resprayed. The side skirts had been resprayed on the car and taped off. There was paint on the factory headlights that was hiding like a housing that was cracked and missing. But yeah, it needed a lot. It was a perfect running, driving car. It was not a nice car by any means. And so, as usual, the snowball effect, taking it apart, finding out that there was just stuff that looked okay but would never be perfect unless it was completely redone. Anytime I have a project, the end goal is to get out, enjoy the car, make it what I want, and make it something that somebody else also wants and has the money to pay for. So making a huge financial mistake is priority, is is what I try to avoid. It's really hard to tell because they're all pinnacles of the experience. Getting something new is like Christmas. The build is, and I say build mildly, like paint and taking stuff apart is always an adventure, and acquiring parts. I am really cheap, and I won't buy parts unless I feel like they're a good deal, or there's some like value to be added by having them. And so people give me a lot of crap about the seats in this car. They are Brahms, and bang for your buck, you will not find a better seat. They are not FIA they are not FIA approved, as any reclinable seat is not. And that's like that's the number one thing I get crap for, is that the seats aren't race approved like the factory ones. But if you have an FIA approved reclinable seat, you let me know and I'll throw them in here. Yeah, obviously you guys, Josh and John, have been awesome through my experience in the car world. The people that support me, Airlift, and all of the guys at Bag Riders, all the old school gang style guys are awesome. Panhandlers, like all the big show guys that I don't enter shows, but I go to as many as I can, especially when people take the time to extend personal invites and want me there, which sounds really weird, but I don't have any desire to go and win a trophy, or like I like being around people and taking my stuff places, but mostly just enjoying the company of the people that I get to see when we go out to shows. Mean person. And yeah, no. What's that? Tire stickers. The internet in general are places where humanity, like humanity, you can get your tire stickers at www.samdobbins.com. He owns More Than More.